Nellie Brauer. So you might have remember I did end up talking to her mom. We spoke about what was going on and how the police were just like, oh well, it's just a runaway case. Well, it's been months now, months. And we still have not seen her. And quite a few things has kind of happened. And there's a lot into play here. And some of this stuff, I'm being honest, some of it is just like speculation and theories. But I want to talk about that. I do. I want to talk about everything, all the layers, especially because it looks like there's a former judge that might be involved in this case, and maybe even lawyers. So maybe some corruptivity going on. So let's get into it. So, okay. Let's go ahead and just kind of talk about Nellie again. If you don't remember, she's a missing persons case from Utah here. That's where I'm from. And she's 17 years old. And she was last seen like hanging around with her boyfriend. And she's just like, that was like the last sighting was at her boyfriend's house. And she's gone. And he apparently has no idea where she is, where she might be. Nothing. No idea. Okay. And his mom hasn't also been very cooperative as well. So, okay. June 30th. So before this, like, we hadn't found like anything. Well, on June 30th, actually, Nellie's car was found near the University of Utah. So it was in a church parking lot that was by the University of Utah. So locals say it'd been there like for at least like a week. There's a lot of trees around it and stuff. So like, unfortunately, like no doorbell footage was available of this vehicle. Okay, so, and we have July 9th. Someone said fitting Nellie's description was up in the Salt Lake area, downtown area, like around like 2 a.m., around 400 and 500 South. Belly was checked out, but nothing would come from it. Okay. We got August 3rd. Nellie presumably reached out to her school, which her mom works at, to get her transcripts moved over to online schooling. So you were able to ping the IP address from where that came from. So that came from 1912 North, Farmington Hollow Circle in Farmington, Utah. Okay, this is a 55 and over community. And this house belongs to Janice Lynn Frost. You gotta remember that. Remember that name. Okay, so Misty Frost is Nellie's boyfriend's mom. So Janice Frost is John's grandma. So who is Janice Lynn Frost? Well, like, and Nellie's parents went all the way up to the house to see if they could find her. Well, the people are living around there said that, oh, they just went on vacation to Star Valley, Wyoming. Well, that's going to become important here too. So Janice Lynn Frost was actually a juvenile judge who's now retired from 2018. Juvenile judge. Just let that sink in. So, I mean, that begs the question, like, why is a missing teen pinged at a former judicial judge's house? And why has no one seen that judge come back home from vacation? It's been about 6 weeks now. I mean, that's a long vacation. I mean, I wish I took vacations that were that long. So, I mean, Janice Lynn Frost is Misty Frost's mother, and her son is Nellie's boyfriend. Coincidence? I think not. So her boyfriend's name is John Koshin. Okay? He's currently missing. His friends haven't heard from him in weeks. He hasn't been to school in over 4 weeks, which he's 18. He's allowed to, excuse himself. But he hasn't even excused himself. He's just missing too. His friends don't know where he's at. No one knows where he's at. What's interesting though, according to sources too, a few years ago he had a mental breakdown. He stalked a girl, saying that he wanted to eat off her skin. Interesting. That is just hearsay. Okay. On his social media, which his TikTok is now taken down, but I found him talking about stuff such as the trench coat mafia. So if you don't know what the trench coat mafia is, two members that are known most for the trench coat mafia were involved in a school shooting, which was a mass massacre from Columbia High School massacre that was on April 20th, 1999. Killed 13 and wounded 24. Yeah. So they claim that, if you separate it from that, trench coat mafia is just defying the popular kids and saying basically F you. Which, okay, I can get behind. I was one of those kids. I didn't really care about the popular kids. I was just well, screw you. I'm going to do what I want, I don't condone shooting up a school, though. And I would never say that I myself would be part of this trench coat mafia because it is associated with that. And that is what most people think of when they think of the trench coat mafia. So why would a teen think that? Interesting. Another thing to note here is that Nellie's social media platforms, they have a two-factor authenticator that is going to John's phone. He claims he doesn't know where she is, but why would you have your two-factor authenticator connected to your phone unless know where she is, have her somewhere, or you're an extremely controlling boyfriend and you don't even let her use her own social medias without your permission? So, you guys want to hear something a little crazy? Of course you do. You're on here with me, so of course you do. So, if you search up Star Valley, Wyoming, and then you search up Star Valley Ranch, and you go on Google, and you go to Google Maps, there is what looks like teens, young adults that are on that ranch. Okay. You want to know something even more crazy, though? I found out who owns that ranch. The people that own that ranch, it's owned by Thomas & Thomas, LC. What is that? It's a law firm. So, for some reason, we're connecting a former judge and some lawyers in this missing person case, which is also a missing teen who apparently just ran away. It's been months. You cannot tell me that she just ran away. That is horseshit. Now, I did some digging into this Thomas & Thomas, and I was okay, because they have their tax ID in Idaho. So I was okay, I want to know who owns this house in Idaho. Well, would you know? It is addressed to Survivors Thomas. What? Turns out they have quite a few other homes that are in several different states under that name, under their trust, under this lawyer's trust fund. They are in Utah, California, Idaho, I believe it's Colorado, that they all had trust homes in. Is this a coincidence? I mean, maybe I'm shooting, fish in a barrel. But maybe I'm not. Maybe my initial thought before I had all this information was that maybe somehow she got caught up in a cult or mafia sort of thing and is trying to get out. Or, she's been brainwashed. Now, alarm bells are ringing. Human trafficking. I mean, what are the odds of a former judge and, there goes my water, 2 lawyers that I connect them to the same space? Now, here's where it's hard. I've connected them. I've only connected them by this city, Star Valley, Wyoming. I've got to connect them as people to each other. If you have any information, I would love to hear it. If you have any theories, I would love to hear it as well. I mean, this to me, this screams corruptivity. But, I mean, maybe I'm just, shooting stuff out of my ass. The mom who has been contacting the person on this case hasn't been very helpful. And granted, he might be super slammed and just busy with other cases as well. Maybe he's doing the best he can. Maybe. Or maybe he knows that the person that is a suspect is a grandchild of a former judge and doesn't want to take anyone off. Doesn't want to ruffle anyone's feathers. Maybe. Also, side note, and can't say where I got this information from, but I do have information too that John, about 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, something like that, purchased a handgun. So you're 18 and that's one of the first things that you do. I mean, I guess teach their own, some people buy cigarettes, but you're going to buy a gun, and you talked about being the trench coat mafia who are notorious for shooting up schools. I don't know. Seems a little sus to me. Anyhow, let me know what you guys think on this. I'm also going to start a GoFundMe to raise some funds so that we can go down to Star Valley and check out the areas that we are legally allowed to check out and see if we can get any sort of answers. Anyone that wants to come with can come with. But I'm going to start a GoFundMe to help pay for that. I mean, this is all volunteers. All volunteers would be going down. So we're paying for food, gas, and if we spend a few nights there, hotels, stuff like that. So if you would like to help out in any way, I will go ahead. I will link that down below as well. Anyway, let me know what you guys think on this. And as always, just keep fucking going, guys.